everyone. How's it going? I'm Timber. This is my part of the solo podcast, and for this episode, my solo part is on rites of passage versus initiations. So, last week, or the last segment, me and Drasmin talked about that together. So this is my turn to talk about my own. I want to make this a shorter video, and just to touch on some key points in my own life about the rite of passage versus initiation. And I apologize ahead of time if we hear weird noise. I'm out back, and I'm not in the best neighborhood in Arizona, so you do what you got. We deal with what we have, right? Make the best of it. Initiations, right there. So, I like to begin this with just a couple small breaths, just to anchor in and for me to connect and allow my spiritual team that's going to help me with this to help create foundation for us and help me find the words that need to be spoken and that I feel that I need to speak. So, I already have incense going, I already smudged, so alright everybody. So, rites of passage versus initiation. And Drasmin had a really good perspective and description of it. To me, it's like initiations are like the small things that happen to us in life, but cause big ripples, so to speak. Like a little breakup, or and I mean, like, maybe that's not great. No, because even breakups to me are on the verge of both realms, honestly. Because, but in theory, in the old stories, the ancient cultures, rites of passage was like when we would step into adulthood, when we're on the teenage years and we step into adulthood, there was ceremonies, there was ways and trials for the men and the women in the tribes, but it helped the cultures understand the phases of life, whether it's becoming a father, a dad, or there's so many other things that can come into play. Whereas initiations, it's like again, the last year and a half, one of my soul sisters, Maitreya Wolf, she's huge on initiations. I mean, she does ceremonial music, and it's just beautiful. But she creates it in ways that goes almost it feels to me, when I hear it in her music, it feels like initiation itself. And she talks about how we keep going through micro initiations and in different levels, but it's always changing us, or it's almost like our higher self, or there's a greater plan that we can't see, because most of us humans we have a hard time stepping back out of our own conscious realm here to see hawk perspective, or they also call that the observer, and to see things from different perspectives. And so it's one of those where sometimes we don't see what's good for us until later, or we're like, oh wow, I'm actually glad that happened to me. So that being said, I'm just going to jump into this. So I have a couple I'm reading off my notes, kind of, because I don't have my glasses on. I cannot find my glasses this morning. So, becoming a dad. So to me, that is definitely a rites of passage. You know, it's interesting how in America it feels like we have different rites of passage for our teenagers, but a lot of times it feels like it's more in the school systems, honestly, which isn't a good thing in my perspective. Like we need we need a more heart-led community that's not just testing our kids, but like showing them and having elders support and hold space for them as they grow into becoming who they are. For all of us it's scary being a teenager. It's scary going through puberty, not knowing what our bodies are doing, hormones kicking in, nothing makes sense anymore. And we're still young, but we're older, and it's very confusing. And we have, all of a sudden you go from elementary to middle school to high school, and then all of a sudden you're on your own basically. Everyone says, go to college, go do this, go do that. You're being told instantly what to do versus creating spaces to allow people to breathe into who they want to really become, or give them a moment to breathe and find themselves for a year or so before they go. Some people know already what they want, and I tip my ponytail to them, but a lot of people do not. So for me, one of my biggest ones was becoming a dad. I became a dad. I just turned 22, and 3 days later, my kid was born. So, I'm a December baby, and he is too. So we're both Sages, and sorry everyone, my allergies are. It's weird out in Arizona. I'm used to growing up in Colorado, where right now is wintertime, and out here it's more like springtime in Arizona because it finally cools off and plants and birds and everything are out. It's gorgeous. So my allergies are kicking in. And I'm not used to having allergies in the wintertime. So becoming a dad, I was in art school. I had a year and a half left to get my degree in illustration, and from there, I found I was gonna be a dad. It wasn't planned. Me and my ex-wife, we weren't even together at that time. We connected at a St. Patrick's Day party. So my kid's got a lot of Guinness and Jameson and cannabis in his creation story from the 3D realm. Also the becoming a dad, finding out I was gonna be a dad when all my other friends were 21, 22, they were partying, they're in college, they were doing all the things I was doing. And then everything just changed overnight. Everything. And I am so grateful that it actually did. I'm grateful I became a dad early on, because I had the energy, and me and my son are so close. He's like my best friend. He is one of my best. Yeah. He's everything to me. He's my everything in this realm. So is my mom. I mean, there's people. Anyways, my kid though, he always comes first. So, that was a huge shift, because my whole world went 360 in a moment. As soon as I found out my ex was pregnant, like everything instantly changed. The way people treated me, especially being a young dad. It was hard. And I had to quit college and find a job and do the best I could to make a living and be a husband and be a father and all the things. I mean, we got married when she was 6 months pregnant. That was a huge, another one, rites of passage, a wedding, getting married. That's huge. So, and getting a divorce on the other side of that spectrum, very huge, life-changing. One of the hardest things I ever had to do. Losing my house, my dogs, well, most of my stuff. I went from almost a 3,000 square foot home to 500 square feet basement apartment at 40. That was humbling. And I will say this, with a lot of initiations and rites of passage, we tend to get our asses humbled in a big way. The initiations tend to be like little minor ones, that can humble us and hopefully not hurt as bad. But sometimes the rites of passage, going through that, it changes who we are, our mindset, our roles, our how we show up in the world, how people see us in a different way. Where initiations, they're just events and situations to help us with our perspectives, help us grow and expand, to learn what we don't want in life and to learn what we do want in life. They're not always pleasant, they're not always fun, but they serve their purpose. I do my best to believe that, and I do my best to not see things as good or bad, but just see it as lessons. And where's my part of that, and where's their part of that? One of the biggest things I like to say in that is it true? Is my part of that, is that true, what they said about me? And if it is, well, I need to do some work around that. And if it's not, well, then that's their stuff. And then I have to acknowledge that and give space for them to be in their own perspectives and feels. Another big one for me was my dad passing on. A couple years ago was one of my hardest years of my life. Within that year time frame, my dad passed away. I got hurt and had to have half my big toe amputated and was bedridden for months. And that was a whole ordeal. And it still affects me today. My balance is better now than it was then, but that's been a journey. And I feel nerve pain and chronic pain all the time. I'm still working on walking in a way that best suits me now, because obviously I'll never walk the same way I ever did before. So I'm still learning to walk new. It's humbling. And then I went through a breakup with my twin flame, and that was intense. And I never felt like my soul was broken before, but I did then. It was not a great ending. I really wish things had gone differently, but that was out of my control. So that was a huge initiation and propelled me to where I am now. And honestly, my heart's still healing from that. It was intense. Losing my dad, my queen, and my toe, because it humbled me. I mean, I went from feeling like I'm indestructible and unstoppable to can't walk as fast. I can't. I'm taking the word can't. Things are different for me. I have different struggles, different ways of doing things that I wasn't able to do back then, or I was able to do back then it's a lot harder for me to do now. Let's put it that way. So I mean, those are just small examples for me, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate in your own life. I mean, you can take some of my own little stories and kind of just add to your own life events. You know, and I've also been in a lot of ceremonies, whether it's ayahuasca or it's a sweat lodge or a grief ceremony. There's a handful of ceremonies I have been in, and to me those are very powerful initiations, because one, you are consciously choosing to participate, knowing that it's going to change you. You want it to change you. At that point, you're like, I am stuck, I am lost, I need help. And so you go and you clear yourself, you cleanse yourself, you dive deeper within, you do your shadow work. That's the thing that a lot of people I feel like they don't talk about when it comes to initiations, is there's a lot of links to doing the shadow work from initiations, because they're so profound and they change you. And if you allow it, and you can see the wisdom in it, which isn't always easy. It's not always easy. There's things I still sit with that years later, I'm still like, it still makes no logical sense to me. I understand the background and I understand the energetics because I've been told in the other realms, but in reality, sometimes what I hear in that realm versus this realm doesn't line up always. So it's confusing. But we're all doing the best we can. Being human is not easy. It's really hard, and it's getting harder and harder, it feels like. And a lot of times it just feels like no matter what you do, it's what's it for? Who's it for? Is it making any difference? We'd like to think it is. You know? But I do wish that I understood initiations better when I was in my 20s. Or when younger in my years. I wish I understood it to where if I saw more events in my life as initiations and did ceremony with it or sat with it in a different way, journaled about it in a different way, with a different perspective of it being initiation, it's expanding me. Instead of being like, I'm a victim, I'm being hurt, once again, I'm being hurt, or I'm being this. And it's, anyone who says that they don't have a part of them in their consciousness that doesn't tap into the victim mentality at times, I don't trust. Because it hits us all in different ways, different levels. And it's just how we work with it. It's again, it's lessons, it's perspective, right? So I'm just trying to make a quick video. I don't even know how long this has already been, but I would like to just ask those that are listening if they wouldn't mind sharing in the comments for everybody else. What initiations or rites of passage have you experienced in your life? Did you have any? Did you not? How has it changed you? Has it made you expand? Has it made you contract? Please share stories. We're all connected. Thing is, like, we're stronger shoulder to shoulder than we are against each other. And I say that all the time, and I will keep saying it. Because we need each other more and more, especially these days. At least to have some compassion and just learn to breathe before we speak, even in public, people cutting us off. It's just opportunities just to soften if we can, when we can. Not always. Sometimes I'm a big believer that some people need to be told that they're being entitled and they're being an asshole. I'm not 100% peace and love. That's not how I roll. I leave that for the monks and the other beings that I know and meet that are just like pure gentle souls that are just all love and light. I'm love and light, but I'm also warrior, and I'm just just want to help people, but you're being a dick or being an asshole, I'm gonna tell you you're being a dick or an asshole. So, allergies kicking in. So, please share, and I'm just curious what everyone thinks, because initiations really do make us who we are in the grand scheme of things, and so I'm just curious what everyone else thinks. But that being said, I send you all love and blessings, and I hope you're all doing well. It's almost the end of the year. I don't know about you all, but last year kicked my ass in ways that was very, very uncomfortable, and I did the best I could to be in good spirits for my birthday and Christmas this year. Me and Drasmin made a deal to we got to support each other in being in good spirits this holiday season, because last year it was hard. So I'm sure it was for a lot of you. So I'm sure last year alone was a handful of initiations. Oregon was a huge initiation for me and healing space. Moving back here to Arizona, like I moved here like 4 months ago. Whew, it has been a rough transition. It's been another initiation in different ways. Environment, people, opportunities, all the things. And children laughing in the background. Gotta love it. Playing. But anyways, gratitude. Thank you for showing up and showing up for yourselves. So I wish you all the best. Much love to you all. Stay tuned next Thursday, 3:33, for when Drasmin drops her post. Drops her video on this topic, her solo topic video on this. So gratitude for the love and support for me and my soul sister Drasmin. We appreciate it truly. So much love to you all. Have a good one. Bye.